Hi, I'm Danny Nightmare,
I'm Gory B Movie.
and we just survived a 28 creepy channel crawl. All thanks to this beautiful woman.
Couldn't have done it without the horror community and the amazing Danny Nightmare.
So, to celebrate, we're gonna go see the movie crawl. Why are we in the office? Well, because we just went and saw the movie crawl and I forgot a memory card.
I'm blaming it on sleep debt.
Yeah. Anyways, here's our thoughts. So this is Alexander Aja's big creature feature of the summer.
And as you know, he is famous for The Hills Have Eyes, Piranha 3D, and High Tension. All very good films. He's certainly proven himself to this point as a filmmaker, so we were very excited to see this movie.
Yep. And it stars Haley. Well, not Gory, but Kaya, what's her butt, from Maze Runner?
Yeah, she was the only girl in Maze Runner, and I believe she's been in a couple other things. Nothing that's really stood out to me until we saw this movie, which I think is the first movie she's really had to, hold on her own, because she is the star of this film.
She's an apex predator.
You're
All day. And her dad, Barry Pepper.
Barry Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Remember when Barry Pepper saved the world from John Travolta and all the other Scientologists?
I blocked that shit out.
I really didn't think Battlefield Earth was that bad. I mean, it wasn't that bad. And also, Barry Pepper is a great actor.
He did a great job in it. They both did, actually. And there's a dog who really acts its ass off in this film.
Sugar. Just saying, if you're gonna have a creature feature and you're gonna put a dog in it, maybe don't name it after food.
Yep. The only spoiler I'm going to give you, though, this is very important for some people, is the dog does not die.
A lot of crocodiles get hurt though, so you know.
CGI crocodiles.
They feel pain.
They do. Crocodile tears. They are CGI, and that's not my favorite.
They do have texture though, like they look real enough to me. I would compare the CGI in this to some other good CGI creature features like The Shallows or 47 Meters Down. You can tell in places that it is CGI, but it looks believable enough that you can immerse yourself in the movie and not be distracted by the effects.
Yeah, for the most part, it looks good. There's a couple of parts where I was like, but compare this to like last summer when we got the Meg, it's so much better.
Now, keep in mind, we know nothing about alligators. We are from the other coast of the United States, over in Washington State. So we're more familiar with bears and deer and
Bigfoot.
a lot of snow and sparkly vampires. So this movie, to me anyway, was very alien. I've never had to deal with a hurricane. I've never seen an alligator outside of the zoo. So it looked real enough to me, but you're taking this from somebody who has never been over there.
And well, you probably gathered from any of the trailers you might have seen, the plot is that she's going to visit her dad because he's kind of MIA, and there's a giant storm coming. And well, the house gets flooded and there's gators everywhere.
This movie is really high on the suspense and the thrills. As far as other elements of this go, there is a bit of drama because Haley and her dad have been estranged for a while and they are only now reconnecting now that she's gone back to rescue him. There's not a whole lot of character development here because the focus is primarily on the hurricane and the alligators. So it does go into areas of melodrama. It can be a little bit sappy, but it's such a small part of the movie that it really didn't bother me.
And the times where they kind of squeezed it in felt right. It didn't seem like it was taking away from the action or the thrills at all. Movies like The Meg or Godzilla, where they have a lot of one-liners and some cheesiness, this one didn't focus on that. It's got more of the scares. Some of the jump scares were actually pretty good. Some of them, not so much.
From my perspective, it looked like they wanted to keep it simple. Her being a swimmer and her dad training her in swimming her whole life ties directly into their current predicament with being in a house that is slowly filling up with water, and the fact that there are alligators running around that she's going to have to outswim. So that ties directly into that. And it made it easy to give us some kind of context for this relationship. But, it's not a whole lot of backstory here. Really, all I know about Haley is she's a swimmer, she has a sister, and her parents got divorced. So, it's not super character heavy, but I don't think you need it in this kind of movie. This movie is a creature feature, and the alligators are really the focal point of the story.
As for laughs, I would say there's only a bite size of that because there's like some robbers stealing an ATM, but other than them, there's really no comic relief in this movie.
Surprisingly, there is actually a decent body count. When we're introduced to the movie, we just see Haley go into the house, and there's her dad, and I was just like, where are they going to go with this? Because they don't have a whole lot of characters to kill off, but they find creative ways to bring characters in to give you that body count. There is a lot of cringe-worthy carnage in that. I mean, like, the kind of stuff where you see bones sticking out and you're just like, oh god, that hurts. Like, there's a couple places where I was just like, oh, ouch. Yeah, pretty grisly stuff here. They do a lot with the sound effects that really amp up those really good ouch moments.
The only con I kind of had was Haley herself, though. She seems to be very immune to alligator bites, where she takes some damage, but it does not slow her down at all. She swims fast, she climbs fast, and she still crawls fast, despite any damage she takes.
It's kind of ties into what I said earlier about the drama part of it, just going into melodrama because they don't spend a lot of time with these characters. She is very much kind of your Mary Sue character, where she doesn't have a whole lot of flaws. She's pretty much great at everything. She's great at swimming, and where other characters that seem capable are taken out like instantly, she is able to just be attacked and just keep on going. My biggest problem with Haley, though, was the fact that she makes some really idiotic choices. Now, I know because movie, if she didn't make these idiotic choices, then the plot would not be furthered, but a couple of them were so bad. If you've seen the movie, I'm going to just tell you that it's the part with the cell phone that really bothered me. A couple of them were so bad that I was just like, dude, I was like shouting at the screen. I was so frustrated.
But despite any flaws, I felt that she was still a likable character, and so was Barry Pepper.
I really liked Barry Pepper in this. I thought that he was a really selfless character. You could tell that his focus was primarily on making sure that his daughter got out of the situation safely, and he really puts himself into a lot of danger in order to try to protect his daughter as best he can. He's injured from the moment he is introduced into the film, so he's already off to a rocky start. Let's talk about the weather.
The weather itself is the villain.
It looked scary. It does make the movie very bleak looking because, there's the rainwater everywhere, so most of this movie is fairly gray. They use clothing and stuff to add some pops of color, but mostly this is a pretty gray looking film. Despite that, Aja did a fantastic job of still making this a pleasing film to look at. Mm-hmm. I think he used that to draw attention to a couple key things, like when there's the cell phone or you see like the alligator's eyes, they really pop on screen because everything else is so almost monochromatic.
Yeah.
And there are some gorgeous shots in here.
Oh yeah, it's great use of camera work and just beautiful scenery, despite the fact that it's in a hurricane.
Yes.
And far as creature features go, this movie, I would say, there's a few moments that are a little unbelievable, of course, but it doesn't quite jump the shark like a lot of them do.
Does it jump the alligator?
Just barely.
Yeah, I do like that the characters in this seemed very familiar with their environment. Like, they don't seem fazed with driving in a hurricane. This is very natural to them. They also had a lot of knowledge on how to deal with alligators, which made sense to me because where we live, we know how to deal with 10 feet of snow and what to do if you come into a mountain lion's path or a bear's. So that seemed to all make sense to me, and it did help being somebody who wasn't as familiar with these kinds of situations know what they should be doing, because I had no idea what these characters should be doing in this situation.
Despite the extreme disaster, Barry Pepper's pretty well prepared. I mean, hell, he keeps flares in an urn. So, should you go see it? I thought it was a fun little date night.
I thought it was great.
I mean, you could see it later, but why not go now and see a gator?
This guy. I'm going to have to say I really enjoyed this. Despite the title, the pacing never crawled. It was action from beginning to end. It was thrilling and suspenseful, and I was really into it. There wasn't any dead time for me, and I had a great time. So I'm going to have to say you guys should see it.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure it's something I really need to own, but it's something I'm glad I saw, and it was even better seeing it on the big screen.
This is a fun event to go see at the theater. I don't know how rewatchable it's going to be, But for right now, I'm glad I saw it at the theater, and I would highly recommend you go see this at the theater. I think it's just a, kind of meant for that experience, that big screen, big sound experience. So absolutely, if you can, go check this out now at the theaters, because you're not going to want to miss this.
Cut.
Yeah.